Hi guys, and welcome back to another VGC 2019 Sun Series Pokemon guide. And in today's guide we're going to be looking at the Pokemon Lunala. So Lunala is the partnering Pokemon to Solgaleo in the Sun and Moon series. It is, if we pop over to the overview, we can have a look at what type it is. But before we get into anything, if you haven't checked out any of the other guides that I have done so far in the Sun Series 2019 format, do go across to the link at the top right hand corner right now and it'll take you over to the playlist, and you can check out guides from things like Kyogre, Groudon, Xerneas, Yveltal, Mewtwo, Solgaleo and Dustman Necrozma that we've covered so far. We are, as you say, going to cover Lunala. It's on your screen right now. So let's get into it. So Lunala is a Psychic and Ghost type. It has the ability Shadow Shield, which operates a lot like another ability you might be more familiar with called Multiscale. So if Lunala has 100% health, its HP stat is at 100%, any attack that comes onto it is going to be reduced by 50% damage, which is pretty nice. It's a pretty good ability, and for something that's already very bulky, it makes it even more difficult to remove very quickly from the field. So it can be a very effective attacker and support Pokemon in the same regard. We've got a base stat total of 680, which is standard for most restricted Pokemon, and then we've got a distribution of 137 HP, 113 attack, 89 defense, 137 special attack, 107 special defense and 97 speed. So the ones that jump out are obviously going to be that special attack stat and its HP stat, which the HP stat is very nice because it does make it very bulky, and the special attack stat makes it very threatening overall. Distribution wise, its defense stats are very nice. It's going to be, like I said, pretty bulky, pretty hard to take down, and we can have a look at its weaknesses and its immunities and resistances and all that sort of stuff right now. So the only real drawback with Lunala is it has got those big weaknesses to Ghost and Dark, both 4 times weak to those attacks. Unfortunately, the Shadow Shield does help to a certain extent with those. It is immune to normal and fighting type attacks and resists poison, psychic and hit normally by everything else. So that is your overview of Lunala. My experience of playing it so far this season is that it is very threatening and it is very bulky as well. So it's an interesting Pokemon I haven't played with too much, but it's something I would like to really get in my teeth into as the format goes on. Now let's have a look at some sample sets. So first sample set we're going to look at is a Choice Specs variant. We went for a Timid Nature, EV spread of 252 special attack, 4 special defense, 252 speed. It's a very common spread and set that you're going to see played on Lunala, especially early format. So it's one to be aware of. We, a bit like the Solgaleo yesterday with the Life Orb and Weakness policy. It's not flashy. It does what it says on the box, and it's just going to be very offensive, hitting very hard and very fast. We've got a moveset of Focus Blast, Ice Beam, Heat Wave, or Thunderbolt. They're the spread options, the coverage options that you've got there that I would probably just cater around the rest of your team to see what fits with the rest of the team the best. You've got Moonblast. I do like Moonblast on this set because it gives you an option against things like Yveltal, where otherwise you're going to be struggling a little bit. Like the Ice Beam, the Thunderbolt will hit it hard, but you're not picking up the kill. But if you've got partnering Pokemon like Xerneas, even though that does deal with Yveltal pretty well, you're going to have the Fairy or a boost on that Moonblast as well to take advantage on that side of the spectrum. And then the staples on the moveset, in my opinion, are going to be Psyshock and Moongeist Beam, which is its signature Ghost type attack. So like I say, just pretty straightforward, going to be hitting like a truck and pretty fast as well. So that 97 speed stat is quite key to Lunala's success for running this set, because like a lot of the restricted Pokemon are in that 90 base speed bracket, so you get the jump on a lot of them and you can do a lot of damage early on. Right, next sample set we're going to look at is a very interesting set as well. Another one I would like to do a lot of work around, I think, and one that we might see on the channel depending on how it goes in practice, and that is the Electric Seed set. So we went with a nature of Modest here because we haven't went for too much speed investment on this set. I think we're concentrating a bit more on the defensive side of things. We've got an EV spread of 252 HP, 252 special attack, 4 special defense. So again, nothing really too fancy, nothing spread out anywhere, but we're just maximizing that HP stat to maximize the defenses. We're keeping and maximizing the 252 special attack, but going with that modest nature to get a bit more out of that special attack, so it's hitting a little bit harder. It's 4 special defense, and with the electric seed, as long as you've got that electric terrain, it will get that defense boost by 1 stage, making it even more bulky, making it able to take those physical type attacks a lot better. And the big thing here is it loses this item early on, so it's not prone to huge knockoff damage, so that is a massive bonus. Getting rid of your item, especially when you've got those big weaknesses, is such a beneficial factor for how Lunala can operate. Now I've went with a few options here for move choices. We've obviously got the staples like we've already mentioned, Moongeist Beam and then the Psyshock, but then you've got either Protect or Roost. I think with a set like this you can probably, with the right support, get away with Roost, and Roost is a nice option for recovery on Lunala, making it even more of a pain to deal with and get rid of for your opponent. You've got options like Tailwind, which if I went down the Protect route with this set, I'd probably go Tailwind. If I go down the Roost route, I'd probably go Calm Mind. I think Calm Mind could potentially be very, very devastating. I mean, even after 1 Calm Mind boost, you're going to be hitting like a truck, like a special truck. Other options there are going to be Wide Guard, Moonblast and Icy Wind. So just other options there for this set, but I do feel like the Electric Seed set can give you a lot of support and give your opponents a lot of trouble at the same time. A lot of potential there. Next sample set we're going to look at is a Wiki Berry. So normally with something that has 2-4 times weak typings, I would say maybe going as a Resist Berry isn't the best, but I think you're alleviated a little bit down this route because of the ability, the Shadow Shield that Lunala has. So with the Wiki Berry, it reduces dark type attacks damage by half, so it means with this spread as well, we've tweaked it a little bit. You can survive a Life Orb, Evolve of Foul Play, and survive things like Adamant 252, Attack, Incineroar knockoffs, which is pretty handy, and it might be enough to just give you the edge, allow you to get a Tailwind up, get a Roar off on an opposing Xerneas possibly. The rest of the set's pretty straightforward: Protect, Psyshock and Moongeist Beam. And then we've got an EV spread. We just tweaked it slightly just to make sure that we can take those attacks that we've listed and highlighted down below. 4 HP, 12 defense, 236 special attack, 4 special defense, and then maximizing the speed with a Timid Nature and 252 speed. So that is that one. Very straightforward, flying through these today. So the next sample set I'm going to look at is a Wiki Berry. Again, we've gone for a Timid Nature, bit of a different EV spread because of the berry. We want to make sure that we're getting the most out of it. I've got a 228 HP, 12 defense, 160 special attack, 12 special defense, and 140 speed. So the 140 speed with a Timid Nature allows you to creep all base 95 Pokemon by 1 point. That's things like Tapu Lele, etc. So you're going to get the jump on them, and that's neutral nature with 252 speed investment. And this set as well allows you to survive +2 Moonblast from Timid Xerneas once the ability has broke. So if you're on 99% health, if you've taken Chip from Sand, you're going to be taking the +2 Moonblast from Timid Xerneas, which is really nice. And then your Berry procs, you can potentially Tailwind, you can potentially Psyshock, do all sorts of things, or hit a partnering Pokemon that might be really awkward. You need to get rid of it before you can deal with the Xerneas, etc, etc. So you're going to be able to take a lot of attacks. I think with its ability, the Berry is a very good choice here. So I do like this a lot. It's along the same lines as the Electric Seed, where you've just got auto recovery as an item rather than defensive boost from your item, so to speak. So yeah, nice options there. Now moving on to partners. One thing I would say before we get into the partner section, another item of choice that I was kind of toying with the idea of whether to put on the list or not, but I think with Lunala's ability, it does have a lot of potential, is weakness policy as well, because reducing those big weaknesses, even though you're going to be taking a lot of damage, a lot of the time you'll be able to survive them and then allow your weakness policy to activate. You could even roost on that turn if you wanted, or set up Tailwind and then roost and then start doing some big damage with that +2 weakness policy boost. So that is an option to think about, and something I probably should have listed here, but I don't know. It's the thing is, I feel a little bit unsure. I haven't tested a lot of the sets, but I can practically imagine that these would work as sample sets, and I know they work as sample sets because this is what is being played. A lot of them are being played at the minute, so they do work. The weakness policy set I haven't seen too much of, and I haven't really tested out myself, so the reason why I haven't put it in, but it's worth mentioning and just making you guys aware that it's an option, and a pretty good one probably at the end of the day as well, as long as the calcs kind of match up to what you're doing with it, then why not? So partnering Pokemon, big partner of Lunala's is going to be that Incineroar, Intimidate, Support, Fire Dog. How many times are we going to see Incineroar through these guides? But it is going to be one of the most popular Pokemon in this format as we go right through to the new year, so don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. It's such good support for a lot of these restricted Pokemon, just because of that Fake Out support. Intimidate support makes just taking attacks so much easier from a physical aspect, and one of the main things that it really benefits Lunala a lot, like Solgaleo, is it's a really good switch in for Ghost and Dark type attacks that really are the two main threats that threaten Lunala. So Incineroar is a perfect partner for Lunala in my opinion. And we'll move on to other partners. Another really nice partner Pokemon for Lunala is going to be Xerneas. So Xerneas has that Fairy Aura ability. It is a Fairy typing, is another restricted Pokemon, but a very good pairing, I believe, and I feel like they're very complementary to each other on both sides of the spectrum. It's a great check, obviously, for those Dark types that threaten Lunala. It's set up support that complements Lunala's set up ability. So you can set up with Xerneas. You've got Tailwind support with Lunala, you've got Wide Guard support with Lunala. Lunala as well has the ability, like a lot of the steel types that threaten Xerneas. So stuff like Solgaleo, Lunala can deal with. Stuff like Kartana, it's so frail especially, Lunala can deal with. The Tailwind obviously allows you to add speed everything and get the boosts off before you do that with Xerneas, so that's really nice support as well. And it does attract a lot of media attention over to Xerneas, giving Lunala room to set those Tailwinds up, because does your opponent really want, you've got to question this, if you've got Lunala and Xerneas out in the field and it's turn 1, does your opponent want to allow the Xerneas the opportunity to set up a Geomancy? I don't think so. I think out of the two, they'd probably want to stop the Xerneas and not really worry too much about the Lunala. And you've got to remember with the Ghost typing as well, it's immune to Fake Out, so you're not going to be like prone to Fake Out. Most of the time you're going to be able to get a free Tailwind up, which is pretty nice for supporting something like Xerneas. And it's obviously great offensive and defensive synergy, like we've already mentioned. So I really like this pairing, and I expect this pairing to be something that you see quite frequently throughout the format as I say, we go through to the new year before the format changes. Another partner is going to be Tapu Koko, Electric Surge, Electric Fairy. Again, we've covered Tapu Koko as a lot in this format for partners to a lot of these restricted Pokemon, but for Lunala, again, very good reason why. It's got the electric terrain to support, the seed support for one that we've already covered in the sample sets. It prevents sleep, it protects against that, which is pretty huge, and it is amazing offensively against Yveltal. It threatens it so hard with that electric terrain, with those electric type attacks, and Yveltal is probably one of Lunala's biggest kind of threats, so being able to check that and put a lot of defensive pressure onto it, so Lunala has room to operate, is so beneficial for it. And I again, it's a bit like the Xerneas pairing. I really like Tapu Koko as a partner to Lunala, so again, something I would probably expect to see quite a lot of this format. So something you need to be aware of, guys, and something you need to have some answers for. Other partner in Pokemon going to be Tapu Lele, another Tapu, Psychic Surge, Psychic Fairy. I think anything with a Fairy typing is going to be very nice to support Lunala. Obviously the Dark typing is such a big threat to it. Outside of Lunala, Ghost typing isn't as popular as Dark typing, I don't feel, in the format at the moment anyway. That might change as the format goes on and the meta game develops, but at the moment ghost types aren't as popular as the dark types. So fairy typing is going to be very, very good, obviously, for that support. You've got the seed option if you want to go down a psychic seed route rather than an electric seed. The priority protection from the psychic terrain protects against things like Sucker Punch, which is really nice. And again, like Tapu Koko, protects you against big threats like Yveltal, which again is one of Lunala's biggest threats. And I've just written it twice just because it's such a big issue. Next partner is going to be Amoonguss. I really like the idea of Amoonguss with a lot of these restrictors as well, and you're going to get it over and over again, and we'll repeat some of these over because they perform the same role that you need them to support these restricted. Now you've got to remember that the restricted Pokemon in this format are going to be your centerpieces. They're going to be the ones that you want to protect. They're going to be the ones that are going to punch holes through your opponent. They're going to be the ones that win you matches. So protecting them, supporting them is what this format is really all about. Making use of them. The players that make the best use of their restricted Pokemon are always going to win out their games, or they should. So Amoonguss is an absolutely amazing support Pokemon. It's got that regenerator ability to switch out, gain a third of its health back every time it does that. Grass, poison typing, very nice typing. It's got that redirection, which is pretty huge to drag away those dark and ghost type attacks. And the majority of dark and ghost type attacks are all going to be single target attacks that you can redirect. You're not really worrying too much about spread attacks. You've got Snarl, which is something, but it's not as damaging as something like Foul Play, which Amoonguss can pull onto it and take for you, give Lunala room to operate. You've got Spore support again, you've got the Trick Room support. Amoonguss is so slow, loves the Trick Room, it's going to really benefit from that, and like all of the sample sets that we've built and given examples of are quite speedy, so they're not really going to appreciate the Trick Room as much as something like Amoonguss. So if the Trick Room does go up as a counter to your Lunala, you've got Amoonguss there, it's going to come in and go, hi, I'm going to put everything to sleep now, and what are you going to do about it? Because by the time everything wakes up, Trick Room's over and Lunala's back in, just picking up chaos all over the shop. And the added bonus, you've got option to clear smog as well to remove stats if you're not running something like Raw on Lunala to get around those. So that is that, and then we'll move on to the threats and counters table. It's pretty straightforward for Lunala. You've got the dark types, Yveltal, like we've mentioned many times, is a big threat to Lunala. Tyranitar as well. It's going to wall Lunala pretty much with everything it can throw on it. It's going to resist the ghost type, the psychic types. It's not really going to care about too much else that it can offer to throw onto it, and it's got access to crunch, so it's going to do so much damage. You've got to be very careful around Tyranitar, especially if Trick Room goes up and there is a terrain to prevent, say, your Amoonguss support putting something like that to sleep or redirecting it or so on. You've got Persian as well. It's going to outspeed Lunala, has access to Foul Play and do some big damage. It can't be faked out, but it can taunt Lunala, and like I say, the Foul Play is just strong enough just to do so much damage. Outside of that, you need to be aware of that threat. And then you've got Incineroar as well, like we've covered already. Ghost types, the opposing Lunala. It's going to be a big threat to Lunala. So that's something that you need to be aware of. You're going to have support against opposing Lunalas because you don't really want to come down to the one-on-one. It'll depend on your build and it'll depend on RNG at the time, who wins the speed tie, etc. And you never really want a game to come down to that. Aegislash as well is going to be a big pain in the bottom because it will be able to take those attacks from you and do some significant damage back with Shadow Balls. And Shadow Sneak, if it just misses the KO, then access to Shadow Sneak and can pick up a quick, easy KO the next turn before you can do anything. And I've just tagged on Giratina as well. Giratina is another ghost restricted Pokemon. It is a dragon ghost, so it has got a unique typing, but it can be problematic and a pain to deal with for Lunala. Can be very bulky as well, so it's something you need to be aware of, and don't underestimate and do respect it if you come up against it and you are playing Lunala. Resists and walls. So I would say Mandibuzz is a pain, a massive pain. You're not going to be able to attack it. It's going to be a lot like Tyranitar. It's going to be able to match Tailwind. It's going to have Foul Play to do huge damage, and it's really just going to shrug off anything you can do to it. I'd say Weavile is a definite check for Lunala. Again, you're not really going to be able to hit very hard, and it's going to threaten you with those knockoffs, Foul Plays, all the things you don't want to be seeing. Alolan Muck, if Trick Room goes up, you don't want to be going against that. It's again going to be able to take anything that you can throw out at it. And then we've tagged on some normal types, because normal types just love facing down against ghost types. A lot of the time, the ghost types cannot do too much damage, and even with Lunala's psychic typing, these two bulky normal types, one we're seeing a little bit of usage from, the other we're not seeing very much usage from at all. Snorlax and Porygon 2, they're not going to really be too fussed about the psychic stab at all. They're so bulky they'll be able to take those attacks and get set up and start doing disruption throughout your whole team. So things that you need to be aware of and just be mindful of. But that about wraps it up for this Lunala guide, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to leave a like. It does really help and support the channel. Do subscribe to the channel as well, so you stay up to date with all of our other guides that we've got coming out very soon. And that will do it. So as I say, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching, and we'll be back very soon with another guide for this VGC 2019 Sun series. So until then, guys, thanks so much, and until next time, bye bye.